Welcome to another Giant Monster Games video. I'm Adrian, and today we are doing a budget Heartless Myr combo deck. This is going to the other end of the spectrum that we haven't really touched yet, because we have touched a couple mid-range, we've touched a little bit of control, and we have touched on aggro, a lot of aggro decks. So combo is where we're headed today. This deck is going to cost you around $60, and let's jump straight in, starting with how this combo actually works. The combo itself is made up of 2 cards, and this is actually where the deck gets its name from, because we're running 4 copies of Heartless Summoning and 4 copies of Myr Retriever. So how does this actually work? Heartless Summoning makes it so all of our creatures cost 2 less to cast, but they get -1/-1. Myr Retriever costs 2 to cast, so once we have Heartless Summoning in play, we can cast it for free, and it's a 1/1, so when it hits the battlefield, it's going to immediately die, which will cause its ability to trigger, which is, when Myr Retriever dies, you may return an artifact card from your graveyard to your hand. If you haven't guessed already, we need Heartless Summoning and 2 Myr Retrievers, and we can get infinite creatures onto the battlefield, which will die as soon as they enter the battlefield. To break it right down, we cast Myr Retriever for free. It'll then go to our graveyard, because it gets -1/-1, killing it, thus returning an artifact from our graveyard to our hand. We target another Myr Retriever, sending it back to our hand, which then we can cast that Myr Retriever for free, targeting the Myr Retriever we just put in our graveyard. We can do this an infinite number of times. So what can we do with that to make it so we can win the game? The next card we have works perfectly with this combo. It is Altar of the Brood. We're running 4 copies of this, and what it does is whenever another permanent enters the battlefield under our control, each opponent puts the top card of their library into their graveyard. As you can see, because we can put infinite number of Myrs into play, we can just mill their deck out in one turn. Now I want to point out, if we have Altar of the Brood, a Heartless Summoning, and 2 Myr Retrievers in our opening hand, we can actually win on turn 2. It's very uncommon, but it is completely possible. Our next card is Falconwrath Noble. We have a single copy of this in the main board. We do have another copy in the sideboard, but I'll cover the sideboard when we get there. This is acting as a backup plan if we don't manage to find Altar of the Brood as fast as we would like. This is giving us the option to drain our opponent for an infinite amount of life, because whenever another creature dies, our opponent loses 1 life and we gain 1 life. That's what this card is doing for us. And as you know, we can have infinite amount of Myrs die in this deck. So this is our backup win con. Next we have 4 copies of Shred Memory and 2 copies of Muddle the Mixture. Now these 2 cards are absolutely nothing alike. They literally do completely different things, but in this deck they are doing the exact same job. They both have the ability to transmute for 2. So when we cast this card for its transmute cost, we get to search our library for a card with converted mana cost 2, in this case Heartless Summoning or Myr Retriever, and put that card into our hand. This allows us to get some consistency out of our combo, hopefully allowing us to win on turn 4 if we don't have all the pieces by turn 2 or turn 3. As an added bonus, you can use Muddle the Mixture as a counterspell if you have all your pieces or you're in a pinch. We have one last tutor effect in this deck, and it is Fabricate. We're running a single copy of this card, and it allows us to go fetch up either Myr Retriever or Altar to the Brood, basically giving us some consistency on our win-con part of our combo. Enough with combo pieces and tutoring effects. Now we have 4 copies of Serum Visions. This is allowing us to draw cards, hopefully drawing into all those things, and it's giving us the added bonus of Scry 2, so we can actually fix the top of our deck if we need an extra land, or if we don't want land, or we don't want certain cards, we can put them on the bottom of our library. Getting rid of them or getting them on top so we can actually get our combo off as fast as possible. Now we have Thought Scour. We're running 3 copies of this, and it is doing similar to what Serum Visions is doing for us, except it puts the top 2 cards of target player's library into their graveyard. So we can hopefully get our second Myr by throwing it into our graveyard. If you already have a Myr in the graveyard and you're relying on drawing a second one, you can always have your opponent put the top 2 cards of their library into their graveyard and then just use this as a card draw effect. Alternatively, if you have your infinite combo assembled, you can always use this hopefully to throw an Altar of the Brood into the graveyard, cast one of your Myrs, return Altar of the Brood to your hand, cast Altar of the Brood, and then get your infinite combo off. Now let's talk about the rest of the creatures in this deck, because we haven't really talked much about them because it's more focused around the combo, but we're running 3 copies of Mulldrifter. This is really being cast for its evoke cost to draw 2 cards, especially if we have Heartless Summoning on the battlefield, then this costs 1 blue mana to draw 2 cards if we're casting it for its invoke cost. And the last creature we have is Heartless Myr. We're running 4 copies of this because once we have Heartless Summoning onto the battlefield, it is a free 2 damage to target creature or player spell for us. And the remaining non-land cards in this deck are all part of our Disruption package. We are running 3 copies of Mana Leak and 1 copy of Dispel. We're using these primarily to protect our combo pieces or to stop other combo decks from going off before us. Moving into lands, we're running 4 copies of Choked Estuary and 4 copies of Drowned Catacomb. This is going to give us some mana fixing because we need both black and blue mana. Black obviously to get our combo off, and blue to basically get through our deck to find those combo pieces. The rest of our lands are 7 islands and 7 swamps. Moving into our sideboard, we have an additional 1 copy of Falconwrath Noble, 4 Ceremonious Rejections, 2 Dispels, 3 Doomblades, 4 Echoing Truths, and a single copy of Negate. That sums up our entire budget Heartless Myr combo deck, but before we end the video, let's talk about some upgrades. To start out with, we can easily upgrade our Disruption package by running Pact of Negation, Thoughtseize, and Inquisition of Kozilect. We can be running Infernal Tutor, which is an extremely helpful card if we already have a Myr and we need to get a second one, or if we've dumped our hand and we need to get a specific card, such as a Myr, because there are other Myrs in the graveyard. Gataxian Probe can be extremely handy for not only drawing extra cards if we're looking for our combo, but to get a peek at our opponent's hand to see if they're going to be able to counter something we play. And like always, we can always upgrade our mana base. This deck probably more so than the others because we consistently need to have black mana on turn 2 in order to cast Heartless Summoning, and because we definitely want blue mana so we can cast any of our draw cards or counter spells. And that's the entire budget Heartless Myr combo deck. If you liked this video, please consider giving it a thumbs up and subscribe to Giant Monster Games for more videos just like this one. But until next time, don't forget to game like a giant monster.